Good morning, viewer, and welcome to Market Insights. It's a beautiful day in the city of Lagos, and I am happy to be here as we analyze issues affecting our economy. I am Lavina Emma. So today we are tackling Nigeria's economic challenges and opportunities. Now, you know, Nigeria is Africa's largest economy, and Nigeria also faces complex issues affecting its growth trajectory. Our landscape is marked by both immense potential and significant challenges. Now, as a nation rich in resources and brimming with entrepreneurial spirit, Nigeria has the capacity to soar to new heights. But the road ahead is not without its obstacles. From the persistent threat of inflation to the volatility of the global market, Nigeria faces a myriad of economic hurdles. The infrastructure deficit, particularly in key sectors like power, transportation, has long been a drag on our economic growth. In addition, corruption is a further pervasive issue, and this has undermined our economic progress. Yet, in the midst of all these challenges, there lies a glimmer of hope. Nigeria's growing tech industry, which is fueled by our young, innovative population, is a testament to its resilience. In addition, our agricultural sector, with its vast potential for food security and export, offers another avenue for economic growth. And let's not forget our country's vast, untapped resources, both natural and human. So this morning, we will discuss how Nigeria can leverage its human capital for economic growth, strategies for improving the business environment, the role of innovation in entrepreneurship and driving growth, and success stories from emerging markets. Furthermore, we'll also explore our government's policies, the private sector initiatives, and the role of the international cooperation in fostering sustainable economic development. So we'll be joined by an expert who will discuss strategies to overcome these challenges and the opportunities that we can harness. Nigeria's economic growth is crucial for regional stability and global relevance. And with everything I've said, what opportunities exist for our local businesses, our investors, and entrepreneurs? So join us after the break for an in-depth analysis of these issues. Welcome back, and thank you for watching the program. So this morning, we will be discussing Nigeria's economic challenges and opportunities. And we have our guest who has joined us virtually for this discussion. And his name is Mr. Femi Emmanuel. He is an edupreneur, a public affairs analyst, an author, and also a life coach. So welcome to Market Insights, Mr. Femi Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure joining you right from here. How are you too?
I'm very well, thank you. Glad to have you on our program this morning. If you could just share with us, what is an edupreneur?
Okay, as an educationist in the business of education, yeah, that's what I mean by an edupreneur, actually.
That's very interesting. An educationist, okay, and also an entrepreneur. Wonderful to hear. Okay, now we're discussing Nigeria's economic challenges and the opportunities that exist in the midst of all these challenges. And yes, over the last few months, we've been affected by lots of challenges in our economy, and every Nigerian is talking about these issues. But we know that there are lots of opportunities in spite of all of this. But before we get right into that now, what are the primary challenges facing Nigeria today?
Several challenges, especially economically, facing Nigerians, but I will want to start with inconsistency in government policies. You know, irrespective of even when the same political party hands over to themselves, you still find out that there's still inconsistency in government policy. I can give a lot of instances. You know, we've had FIRS all the while. Right now, there's a bill in the front of the National Assembly. We want to change our FIRS to NRS, and quite a lot of changes has been proposed. Probably an example, a few months ago in the educational sector, the Minister of Education was talking about people or students who are not 18 years old probably won't be allowed to write JAMB or admitted into the university anymore. These are examples of inconsistency in government policies, and it's an effect it has is it scares investors, especially when there's an election cycle. Investors are scared of what happens when whoever wins, if all of their investments will probably be thrown out, or probably they will probably have to start again from the scratch. It leads to investors having doubts in the government. And another thing again that is affecting the economy is also saboteurs. Certain people feel that they must always find a way to rig the system to their favor. I'll give you a good instance. At some particular time, the previous administration banned importation of certain goods, and then listed certain goods that could get FX directly from the CBN, just to make sure that they make those items available to Nigerians at a cheaper rate. But there's something called round tripping. Nigerians will actually fake, some Nigerians fake certification just to get this FX cheap from the Central Bank of Nigeria, send to a company they registered abroad, and then send it back through our Bureau de Change, and then leading to the disparity in the value of Naira to dollar. Several millionaires were made through that. And, the effect of that is what we Nigerians are going through right now, when this new administration came in and tried to ensure that FX was no longer available, and blocked several loopholes affecting Binance and the likes. And right now we are here where a dollar to Naira is probably at 1,600 or 1,700. These are examples. I'll give another example. Insecurity in the north is actually affecting our agricultural sector, as farmers can't guarantee their safety, and with that they couldn't go to the farms. But on the other hand, the previous administration had actually banned the importation of some goods. So coming in, this new administration is probably stopped in between allowing importation, or probably giving farmers more money or security, and that's why we have food inflation at the moment. So with no doubt in my heart, I can go on and on and on and give you a lot of examples, but sincerely speaking, we are going through a lot, and the average Nigerian does not understand that they should keep hoping, because there's this lack of trust in government. Whoever is in charge, there's just this lack of trust between Nigerians and their leaders. So, but I really feel that probably, as we shared during this cast, we'll look into the hope that is available for we, the ordinary citizens. Thank you.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Femi Emmanuel, but you mentioned that you talked about saboteurs in our economy. Now, are you trying to say that our people are divided against each other, and this progress that we all hope for and want in our country is not a shared belief by everyone? Your thoughts on this, please?
While I don't want to say that so most Nigerians don't want progress, sincerely, I need to let you know that there are Nigerians that actually benefit from whatever plagues or whatever troubles the populace is going through. I'll give you instances. Why has it been difficult to fix our power sector all the while, despite so much investment in this sector? The answer is simple. There are people that actually import generators. There are people that gain heavily from ensuring that the power sector does not function optimally. In the last administration, some farmers were given loans from the development bank. Some of them got these loans, married more new wives, deserted their farms. Some that even went into farming started. Once it's time to harvest or time for harvest, rather than sell to Nigerians, some hoard these goods and wait till demand and supply makes the cost of their farm produce high, or some actually divert and sell to other countries. All of these actions are still sabotage. So, answering your question, is it true that we have people that honestly wants to sabotage efforts of the Nigerian government? Yes. But is that an excuse for the government not to make progress? No. I don't know, maybe I answered your question.
Well, in between, we're not fully there. I don't really think we should be casting accusations against anyone in this kind of scenario. We're talking about the challenges, and we believe that there are opportunities in the midst of all this. That's what we intend to show everyone with this discussion. So that being said, now, what are the key opportunities for economic growth in Nigeria?
Okay, let me correct this impression. You know, for us to now look at the opportunities, we have to understand the challenges and the major players that are actually making these challenges obviously affecting the Nigerian populace. See, there's always a human factor to everything. Every success, every failure, there's a human factor. But does that mean that Nigeria cannot grow or outgrow all of these challenges and overcome? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. We will overcome. And that will make me talk about the opportunities that lies ahead of us. I need to commend the governor of Niger State, Governor Bago. I'm sure we are all aware of the agricultural revolution going on in the state. I'm of the opinion that this is, if many state governments state governors rather can buy into such a laudable idea, food inflation will be down. And Nigerians will actually be able to feed ourselves before we even start talking about exportation of food. So there is hope. I see what Ogun State is also doing as far as rice is concerned. Just 2 months ago, a month ago, rather 6 weeks, probably barely, they just harvested some rice in partnership with the PPP, public-private partnership. And if more states go into this, because see, we have to look at the short term, the medium term, and the long term. Nigerians will always interpret everything from how much they can afford food and probably transportation. So if governors look into partnership and ensure that food inflation is down, I think 50% of our problem is solved. That's one opportunity. Another opportunity is the Nigerian youths that are really intelligent. I must tell you point blank that if government finds a way, and when I say government right now, I'm not talking about just the president, especially now that local government autonomy is finding its way, and the National Assembly is finding the way around fine-tuning the local government autonomy. If every local government chairman at the 77 and 74 local government actually buy into a major idea like food production or tech, the ecosystem in the tech, I can assure you that Nigerian youths are capable, they are highly blessed with intellect to bring in FX, to bring in foreign exchange and help the country earn more. Another opportunity that most of us are not probably talking about is in the health sector. Do you know, gone are those days, many years ago, most of our politicians actually used to be tourists as far as the health sector is concerned. But I can break it to you that I know people that fly in from the UK, from the US to actually come experience the health sector in Nigeria because it's faster. You don't have to queue. I don't want to use some basic terms. I was in the UK not too long, and I understood how some of my friends told me that they were actually on queue to just get some basic things done. These are things that we take for granted. And I feel Professor Pate, the minister, is working on certain policies that I'm really in line with. And I hope that if the private and the public sector can buy into this, Nigeria can annex a lot of FX from our health sector alone. There is more and more and more. Look at some of the Nigerian universities that are ranked, on Times as some of the best universities in West Africa around the world. See, if we find a way around, there are many people that the only reason why they travel abroad is actually through the educational route. If we get things right and we get it right in the educational sector, sorry for bringing this in, but I'm into the education sector and I understand how much Nigeria can make if we really, stabilize our education sector. It can bring in our effects that we're all screaming and shouting about. So there's quite a lot of opportunities, but the short term, what can actually bring in that FX Nigeria needs in the short term, we have to look at the Dangote refinery when it begins to export and sell. We have to look at the educational sector. We have to look at health, and we have to look at agriculture.
Okay, well said. Thank you for that, Mr. Femi Emmanuel. Yes, our educational sector, our agricultural sector, yes, these are the areas where there are opportunities, especially in the tech sector with our youths that are very talented in the tech industry. But you mentioned something, this public-private partnership now. Yes, so as an educationist and also an edupreneur, as you call yourself, now how would you advise the government to tap into the opportunities in our educational sector?
There are quite a lot of opportunities in the educational sector, and what government needs to do, government needs to partner with. Well, it's not a paid advert for some of these private universities, though. But I think government needs to now partner with them. How does government's partnership work? These people pay taxes, and if we sell what we have well, if we showcase what we have well, if we package and showcase what we have well to the international world, I'm so sure that so many citizens of other countries around the world, especially in Africa, will come to enroll and learn in these universities. And they coming to enroll and learn in these universities will actually go a long way to improve our foreign exchange. That aside, from the public universities also, sincerely speaking, almost everything is cheap. You can compare how much it takes to study medicine in Nigeria and how much it takes to study medicine in like the UK or in these great universities up there. But does that mean Nigerian universities do not have the facilities? No, of course we do. What we just need to do is to really do a great packaging and then ensure that people have that belief system. At the moment, Nigerians don't believe in their government, and that's something we need to talk about. But once private sectors are at the forefront, once owners of private businesses in the educational sector are the ones that are leading the gap or leading this foray, it's easier for people to buy into it. What Nigeria needs at the moment is FX. Because there is rarely anything we want to buy, there's anything you want to do. If you compare to the dollar, then it's down. So I'm looking at government partnering with educational sector, especially private universities, to ensure that quality education for Nigerians start to speak. Now that reminds me of the student loan, and obviously there's this belief that many of those in private universities are privileged, and probably that's why the government has not extended such kinds of fellowship to students of private universities. But I'm of the opinion that may not be what they need, but there is a need for private-public partnership to ensure that we showcase these universities, their facilities. I don't want to mention names. There are some universities in Nigeria that once you're graduating, you already qualified for some of you have your certification in some of these highly ranked courses. I know universities that once you're graduating in accounting, you're actually a chartered accountant. That's something we should be proud of. It will boost the image of our country. It will attract FDIs, foreign direct investments, and then it's great for our FX. So education partnership, it's something I think the government should look into.
Still on this issue now, why do you say that what we need in our country's economy is foreign exchange? I want to get more clarification on this.
Okay, not entirely only foreign exchange, but basically because most of the things most of the things we use in our manufacturing sector, which is in a state of comatose at the moment, are actually imported. Look at steel. Look, why? And see, if the manufacturing sector is not booming, it's not part of the major sectors contributing to the growth or the GDP growth, then it's going to take time. The manufacturing sector will solve our unemployment issues. The manufacturing sector, aside the unemployment issues, when we can export some of the things that these guys make, so there's a need. The reason why I'm comparing every of these things with FX is because basically Nigeria is still an importing nation, and for us to go do well with manufacturing, then there must be the problem of our dollar to naira parity must actually be solved. But that does not mean that is all we are dependent on. The Dangote refinery, for instance, at full capacity, I know how much FX it will save us and how much it will help us to attract. But if we need more industrialization, we need more of these companies to come back or to start production or expand their productions, then definitely there's a need for government to look in that direction and do a lot of partnership through the Bank of Industry, BOI, depending on what sector though. But there are banks. There's also the Bank of Agriculture. There are different banks for each of these sectors, but we need to find a way around our foreign exchange to make it attractive for people to invest.
Okay, so this is all about investing in our economy and also getting foreigners to invest in our economy. Okay, I hear you on that. But like you also mentioned, having to improve on our production, having to boost production would also improve the value of our naira, which is something we really need to focus on in this economy. So I just want to get your opinion on this in a few words, please.
Yes, there's a need for us to focus on rebuilding our economy. And while we try our best to attract foreign investors, there's a need for Nigerians to be self-confident and invest in Nigeria. I know a lot of that. We all know about a lot of wealthy Nigerians that put their money offshore. This has to stop. And once they're being caught and some of these cash are being repatriated into the country, it's also good that Nigerians trust their government enough not to also, due to corruption, and steal some of these funds, but to reinvest it. Now, there's another part of the economy that the government is not paying attention to, and which is the SMEs. Honestly, the SMEs, if we fine-tune our tax policies, our VATs and the likes, they have the capacity to grow the Nigerian economy. They may not be able to employ too many people, but employing a small business employing just one or two or three and having hundreds of thousands or probably a million or billions of them will actually solve our unemployment problem too and contribute to the GDP. The challenge is no longer skill, but the challenge is actually modifying the skills and ensuring that most of them are actually within the tax brackets.
Okay, yes, Mr. Femi Emmanuel, yes, thank you for that. Now, looking at our government, everything they have done so far, now what role can they play even more in terms of the government policies, in terms of fostering economic development and addressing these challenges?
Yeah, government has a very big role to play, and I still believe that most of these sittings by our National Assembly, while they bring experts and MDAs to address them on some of these policies, I still feel that we have a major problem. Our major problem is implementation. Most of these policies are good on paper. For instance, I mentioned at my opening speech that FIRS is looking to transform into NRS, and then they want to look into making sure that there's something called tax ID, and that every Nigerian that earn legitimately can be taxed directly from the source. They want to ensure that during procurement, only MDAs are playing supervisory role, but the Accountant General of the Federation pays directly to the contractors and remove the taxes from the source. I can mention on and on some of these policies that they're trying to bring on board, but the truth is, most times our policies are good on paper and it fails at the stage of implementation. Why? One, there's no buy-in. There's a need for the national orientation agencies to ensure that every of government policies are explained in simple terms. Partner with media, explain in local dialects, get people to talk about all of these things so that people don't hijack the narrative and begin to convince Nigerians otherwise. We fail at the process of implementation, irrespective of how good. Let me give another instance. Look at the CNG, for instance, government looking into Nigerians buying into the CNG for transportation as means of fuel, But there are people, because the NOA is not doing enough partnership and putting it right in our face and telling us about the danger, telling us about how it is safe rather compared to PMS. There are a lot of people that are hijacking this narrative and poisoning the minds of an average Nigerian. So even I saw some people even post that please kindly advertise that your bosses uses CNG so that I will not be able to board it. Because the NOA is not taking the bull by the horn. So what am I saying in a nutshell? Policies have always been good, but where Nigeria as a government feels is actually at the stage of implementation. And what can be done? Get a general buy-in from Nigerians by educating in both local and international dialects. Get stakeholders. It's not just about celebrities. Get stakeholders to critique these policies, this idea. Be open to correction. That somebody criticizes a policy does not mean that they hate the government or they belong to the opposition. We want a good Nigeria, and the government must be willing to accept criticism. Let me round off also by saying that there's also this mindset that Nigerians do not or are not willing to trust their government. And you see, you can't blame us. You can't blame we, the ordinary Nigerians, because most of those that we voted from the nooks and crannies of Nigeria ended up enriching themselves rather than working for the benefits of the masses. So if you ask me, I'm fine. Policies on tax and FR, great. Policies on agriculture, great. Policies on health, great. Bosun Tijani too is doing a lot as regards AI and tech. But how are we faring as regards implementation and making Nigerians buy into all of these policies? That's where I want the Nigerian government to actually adjust.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Femi Emmanuel. Yes, more orientation is needed for the larger populace to understand what the government is saying. And like you rightfully mentioned, putting this out there in our native language is also very important, so that whether you live in the urban cities or the rural areas, everyone will understand what the government's policies are all about. Now, let's take a break. When we return, we're going to discuss about more opportunities with our guest, Mr. Femi Emmanuel. Join us after the break. Welcome back, and thank you for watching the program. And we are still discussing Nigeria's economic challenges and opportunities with our guest who has joined us virtually, and his name is Mr. Femi Emmanuel. He's a public affairs analyst, an edupreneur, an author, and also a life coach. So thank you for joining us on the program, Mr. Femi Emmanuel.
Thank you for having me today.
Now, we know Nigeria is blessed with natural resources and also human resources. So now, how can our country leverage its abundant natural resources for sustainable growth?
Yeah, great question. We're blessed with so much abundant resources, and sometimes it makes some of us wonder if it's a blessing or a curse. But I think it's a blessing. But we do not have to pray our way into success with these natural resources. We have to get to work. We have to have selfless leaders. You agree with me that some of the reasons why we have banditry in some of the states I wouldn't like to mention is actually because of the natural resources. And there are people who are not average Nigerians, the wealthy Nigerians, who actually use the downtrodden for their own selfish aim, cut away with these natural resources, gold or the likes, stock them up, uh, probably sell to other countries in partnership with
Sorry, Mr.
foreigners
Femi
who
Emmanuel, I'm
are.
sorry to interrupt you there. You can't really prove these things that you are talking about, that there are people who are taking advantage of. Is it proven? Can you prove it? That's what I'm asking you.
There, quite few months ago, 2 months ago, one or two of the major people were arrested. Some of these people were actually people that have been taking pictures with government functionaries. It's something that is in the news. I'm not cooking up stories. It's something that is in the news. The truth is, one, we have natural resources, and certain individuals through crook or means find ways to ensure that these things are for their personal benefit instead of the benefit of the masses. However, I'm not trying to exonerate government completely, because it's a duty. If you watch the Minister of Mines and Steel, Dr. Dele Alake, he has been doing a lot, and he has been addressing the media. So most of the things I'm saying are actually from some of his addresses, his press conferences. So okay, why are they trying to set up mine police? Obviously, because they want to ensure that some of these people that have been cutting away with all of these things are being checked. I think there's a checkmate in that industry. However, that's not the only natural resources that we have. How about our oil? Do we also want to deny the fact that there are people that are actually, through modular refineries, refine some of these things and actually cut away with them? Why are we not able to do 2 million barrels? Why are we not unable to do 2 million barrels per day? So we cannot deny the fact that there are human factors to the challenges we are facing with our natural resources. But does that mean that we should throw in the towel? No. Nigerian government must re-examine the policy. See, I'm of the opinion that if the percentage of what comes to the state governments from some of these mineral resources is increased, and then the state governments are made to actually, do more of the exploitation and spending to now contribute to the center, rather than coming to the center to get FAC every month, most of these state governors will get down to work. So, way forward for our natural resources, there's a need. The National Assembly is doing something on that already, though. But there's a need for us to go back and look at the drawing board, get back to the drawing board, and look at how not just bringing foreigners or foreign direct investment to help us push our natural resources. No, let them set up companies in the country so that we can have that full cycle. You don't just mine natural resources and then take abroad and then come to sell finished products to us. We still do not earn that FX from that. We want those companies. There should be incentives from the government, policies good enough for both Nigerians that have the money to invest, or foreigners that probably have the expertise, the needed expertise in some of these, in exploring these natural resources, to set up their companies in this country, employ Nigerians, and then let us make sure that the full cycle is what we have, so that we can the value of our naira can also go up. Not only the oil, we also have the gas right now, and obviously with the attention the federal government is giving CNG, you will agree with me that the government wants us to beam our satellite on gas, because we have an abundance of that. And like many fear that oil may probably go into extinction soonest, but gas, we have so much of this. And at the moment, the federal government is signing partnership with some other countries so that they can actually transport some of this and help us to earn foreign exchange. But is that enough? No. I think our power sector at this moment should be 75% gas generation. We have the resources. Let us also look inwards and see how some of these natural resources can, affect Nigeria, affect Nigerians. I'm of the opinion that communities that have so much of sunshine because of their weather condition should probably be depending on solar. Communities that are close to the dams should probably depend on hydro, while communities that are close to these gases or the likes that are transporting the gases from wherever it is being generated, it's close so that people will not also break or vandalize the pipelines, should generate power from gas, so that when the national grid is down, the entire country does not need to begin to cry because the national grid is down. We need to, our leaders need to think not like outside the box, but they should actually think like there's no box. So our natural resources are actually a blessing to us, but our leaders, in conjunction with foreign investors, with Nigerian investors, must look inwards and find how these things can be to the benefit of the masses and not to the benefit of certain few individuals.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Femi Emmanuel. Yes, we actually need to be more open-minded. The government needs to be more open-minded, and also so that we can tap into these resources, as you call them. They are a blessing to us. Now, what financial, or rather, let me put it this way now, what infrastructure projects offer attractive investment opportunities in our country? Said what infrastructure projects offer attractive investment opportunities?
Oh, okay. I'm of the opinion that if we get three things right, we will attract investment into the country. Number one is our power sector. If we get the power sector right, I'm of the opinion that cost of production, naturally, cost of production may not go down completely, but it will be manageable for Nigerians. Look, at the moment, the cost of PMS is high, and most businesses are probably being powered by generators. But once power is stable and then it's predictable, you know when there's likely to be power shortage. Your local authority announces to you, you switch to probably CNG or to generator, and it does not affect your cost of production at that time. Then I'm sure the power sector, fixing our power sector, will solve a lot. That's number one. That's one of the stuffs that must be really fixed for our economy to really boost. The second thing I also think again is our government policies. I mentioned earlier that inconsistencies in government policies sometimes can make a business go into extinction. You're in business today, you have employed quite a lot of people. Let me give a good instance. A friend of mine is into publishing newspapers, and papers are actually being imported now. When the cost of the comparison between naira and dollar, the more it goes up or fluctuates, the more it goes up and down, it affects its own cost of production also, and it actually had to downsize last month because he couldn't keep up. In fact, he was telling me 2 days ago that he's looking at telling some of his employees to probably come to work on rotational basis. If you are in the print sector, when those that are writing and editing are not done with their work, there's no need for you to come to work until they are. Yes, please.
Yes, sorry. Just please, can we just pause your thoughts briefly, please? We have a lot of sectors in our economy. We have our agricultural sector, the health sector, educational sector, and like you mentioned, I'm talking about what sectors will be very good for investment, not just foreign investment, even Nigerians investing in these sectors also. And you mentioned power, which is a very key sector. Yes, we have spoken about the government's policy and how the government needs to, which you focused on greatly, how to actually implement it. It should not just be something on paper alone. We should see this in practice also. So apart from the power sector, what other sectors are you looking at? Yes, the government policy is very important, but could you just mention, like you outlined 3 of them. So we have one, let's hear the others, please.
Okay, maybe what I'm trying to say is this. All sectors are effective if certain things are kept in place. I'm a player in the educational sector, for instance. There is money in the education sector if I'm not going through multiple taxation. If the government policy does not tax me in different ways. Okay, the agricultural sector is another area I expect investors, both local and foreign, to look into. Why? See, we have the population, over 200 million Nigerians, and it's not possible for you to produce to feed these people and you will not make profit. That's not possible. But the challenge in the agricultural sector is most times transportation from the farms to the markets, storage facilities, because most of these things are perishable goods, and most of these farmers are not rich enough or wealthy enough to have the infrastructure to preserve these goods, and once they are able to preserve it, there's no fluctuation when those goods are not in demand. They store enough, and during those off season, it's still affordable for Nigerians. So that's about the agricultural sector. Insecurity is also affecting the agricultural sector, though. But agricultural sector is a sector that has that capacity to contribute so much GDP to our GDP. Another sector I think we should look into, but it's actually capital intensive, is the health sector. There's little to what maternity centers, PHCs in our localities can do. Private individuals should look into contributing into the health sectors, and I will tell you why. I think Nigerian youths we are sitting on a gunpowder with the epidemic of how most of them are consuming jeans in sachet, in plastics, and health generally. With the look of things, if we don't invest in the health sector, our youth, which make up the larger percentage of our population, will probably go down the drain in the next few years. So there's so much prospects in the health sector, but it has to be affordable for you to be, but it's capital intensive, but it has to be affordable for you to actually to be able to break even. The last but not the least,
thank you for that, Mr. Femi Emmanuel. Yes, thank you very much for sharing this with us. Yes, thank you. Okay, so now briefly, before we round up the program now, what financial instruments do you think can support Nigerian businesses, particularly our small and medium enterprises?
Okay, yes. I see what the government is doing. The previous administration did something about trader money and market money, but I think there's a need for more. There's a need for Nigerians, the SMEs, small medium enterprises, to have access to loans that are single digits as far as interest is concerned, not double digits. And the criteria to actually access these loans should also be relatable. There's no need to ask you to bring things that is outside the reach of the common man, when your aim is actually to provide loans for the common man to be able to run their businesses. So that's number one. I think Bank of Industry must find a way to partner with this. All of them have associations, and if you partner with them as an association, it's easier to give group loans and get them to actually refund. That's number one. Number two again is angel investors. I think most SMEs are not doing well in their documentations. Even though you are doing well, you are thriving, but there is no documentation about your income, your profit. Most of them just feed from hand to mouth and just swallow up both the capital and the interest. And it's difficult for investors, not in terms of billions right now. There's somebody out there that is willing to invest in that small business, but because there is no appropriate documentation, it's difficult for anyone that is willing to invest to be able to track how long it will take him or her to actually recoup his or her investment, and that's why it looks as if it's not worth it. So my take on that is there's need for more entrepreneurship education. There's a real need for it. The skill is not just all that is needed. That you are skillful to do the job does not mean that your business can scale to be able to access funding. So there's a need for educational entrepreneurship education to help our SMEs scale so that they can access, if they can't even access government loans, they should be able to get access to angel investors. That's number two. The last but not the least, as regards financial interventions, is that I also think that government should go the way of grants. If you're in school, if government is doing something about the student loan, I see them doing 20,000 monthly pocket money thereabout. I also feel that there should be students who are entrepreneurs, who can set up businesses to attend to the needs of their fellow students. There should be a grant to help these young ones also scale. They are the ones that will now set up a bigger business once they graduate, rather than also return to the labor market. So we have to structure, we have to look into this from a structured point of view. And I think creating grants for students on campuses that have businesses will go a long way to help most of them scale to be big entrepreneurs that can be employers of labor as soon as they graduate.
Thank you so much, Mr. Femi Emmanuel, a public affairs analyst, an author, a life coach, and an edupreneur, for sharing your thoughts on Nigeria's economic challenges and the opportunities in these challenges. We really appreciate sharing your insights into this discussion, and we do hope you can join us again on Market Insights.
Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure being with you.
Now let's look at the money markets this morning for Thursday, 17th October 2024. We're looking at the Central Bank of Nigeria rates and the parallel market rates. So for this morning, the CBN rates, we're looking at how the dollars, pound sterling, and the euro are selling. So at the CBN, the dollars is currently selling for 1,640 naira to $1. At the parallel market, it is selling for 1,705 naira to $1. For the pound sterling, the parallel market rates are higher for the dollar, with a difference of 65 naira. And for the pound sterling, at the CBN rate is selling for 2,154 naira to £1 sterling. At the parallel market rate, it is selling for 2,270 naira to £1 sterling. And that's a difference of 116 naira with the pound sterling, with the parallel market figures higher than the CBN rates. Now for the euro, the CBN rate is 1,803 naira to €1. That's the CBN rate. The parallel market rate is 1,860 naira to €1. The parallel market figures also are higher than the CBN rates, with a difference of 57 naira. So those are our money market figures this morning for Thursday, 17th October. Thank you so much for watching the program Market Insights as we discuss Nigeria's economic challenges and opportunities with our guest, Mr. Femi Emmanuel, and he shared his insights, particularly with emphasis on how the government's policies need to benefit the people, and also we need to see it being implemented fully. We need to see it in practice. Nigerians need to see these things, and Nigerians need more orientation of what these policies are about, and also more entrepreneurship education for the small and medium business owners. Many thanks for watching the program Market Insights. I am Lavina Emma. Do stay tuned to the news updates on Sook News Television.